Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. You know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful December the 17th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Charlton, we're starting to brace for a blissful holiday season down here. You know, we're getting over the football charades of the weekend. I mean, some very skeptical games and calls over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it shook everybody to its core and everything. But,
yep.
You know, buckling up for some bad weather that's about to come through for the holiday season, Charlton.
Yeah, it's always fair and love and war. Just like Mother Nature, you never know what you're gonna get, but you gotta roll with it no matter what it is. You know, during the holidays, individuals tend to think about the Star of David as we celebrate Christmas, and we should let ourselves and our light shine all the time, every day, not just for the holiday. Let it shine every day. Love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That's a message for the holidays from Big C Sports. So much happening in the world of the sports universe, and I love everything we have going on with football. College football, a lot of bowl games are already happening. Of course, NFL is great. And then NBA basketball is fantastic. I do want to say today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, you good old boys down south. I know you're missing football, but I know something you don't miss. You don't miss getting ready for that Thanksgiving dinner. The leftovers you're still saving for Christmas dressing. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you know, I love the Christmas dinner because it's a trim down from that Thanksgiving, you know, buffet that we put on every year.
Yeah.
You know, so you can limit it down at Christmas time because there's so many games on, Charlton, college and professional. You know, you got limited family around at that time. You know, it's about sharing the joy of the year with those intimate ones within your household, Charlton.
Yeah.
Just a great appreciation for where you've gone for the entire year, Charlton, getting ready for the new year, and just appreciate all that you've been blessed with.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, Big C, as you always say. I remember I was doing a show, we were doing a show not that long ago, you know, coming up on the holidays. People always say, what are you really grateful for? And you said waking up, because everything else is downhill, and that's true. No matter what our plans are, if you can just wake up and get up, then you got a leg up on people that won't get up, Big C. So that's something we're always grateful to the universe for, letting us wake up every day. I believe that the number one sports network in the universe is also going 2019 to start streaming TV. So not only will you be able to follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, but imagine bringing the number one network in the United States of America where you can stream on TV. A lot of networks have started to join the same platform that we've been on for 3 years now. It's just about progress. If you're not changing, you're actually falling behind, whether it's technology, whether it's your information, your knowledge. If you're not going forward, Big C, you're going backwards because nothing is stagnant. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, progression is just the perpetuation of life. I mean, everybody's striving to do more and achieve more every day. I mean, that's what keeps this country and the world going. And when you look at this industry that we're in, you know, if you look at how this industry has changed, I mean, you go back to when there were just the transistor radios. As kids, we all walked around with this little transistor radio that used a 9-volt battery, Charlton.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we also read the Dick Tracy comic book. And if you look at that comic book from Dick Tracy, it has come to life now, Charlton, with people wearing wristwatches.
Yeah.
Where you can talk with this watch, that's a phone, and, you know, a little computer also on your wrist.
Yep.
And now, when you look at streaming radio, Charlton, that it's on the internet. You can take radio stations anywhere in the world. With you. You're not limited to that local AM station that you had as a child. And then when you talk about streaming on computers, that not only are you listening to someone on a radio, you can sit there and watch them on your computers and even televisions now, Charles.
That's a very good point, Big C. I believe that Mr. Crockett, who owns the LA Rams, He also owns several, other sports teams. He's actually married to one of the Walton family from the owners. They own Walmart. That's now you married to the Walmart family, you're doing pretty well. But he's made his money in real estate, buying strip malls and shopping malls. Back in the days where some people thought he was stupid, like, why are you buying blank land? It's just raw land. There's nothing out there. Why are you spending money on that? And then, as you know how cities are planned, they'll find a remote area next to a highway, and they will start laying the fiber optics for the infrastructure. Before people even know what's going on, they've already put infrastructure underground, Big C. And then after infrastructure, you start having the water lines laid, you start having streets made. Once that's done, then they start building housing tracts on at one time was usually farming land or even just barren land that was not developed. How does that relate to technology? Technology in the world of media, just like you talked about, growing up with that transistor radio. And the quantum leap that's happening right now, everybody wants a quantum leap. Everybody wants to feel significant. It used to be where only mainstream owned the airwaves. Well, FCC is not regulated. Streaming is not regulated by FCC. FCC is when you have to go through the oligarchies of power that are primarily mainstream, and you're not getting in unless they let you in. But this new quantum leap that we're having in humanity, Big C, like Dick Tracy's cell phone, all people all over the world, in fact, people all over the universe, if you have a talent, start working on your skill. Big C Sports, we've been telling you that a long time ago. As a leader in technology, you don't need to wait to be on the mothership. You can create your own platform, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's just like in the world of sports where, it was back in the days of playing, we had a coach relaying down from the press box, talking to a coach on the sideline and the headset, telling them what they saw.
Yep.
Then it gravitated, Charlton, to photographs where they had the Polaroids and they were sending them down. Now you're watching things in real time on a tablet on the sideline. So when you see how technology of this game has changed, where it went from just a coach relaying what he saw from the press box to a steel Polaroid coming down to the sideline, Charlton, where you had to flip the pages. And we're talking less than a decade ago where you're on the sideline flipping pages, Charlton, to see what a play was, see what the defensive offensive setup was. Now you can run the play back on your tablet as soon as you get to the sideline.
Yeah.
Coaches can see it, Charlton.
Yeah.
So technology in the world of sports, Charlton, is very prevalent to the technology in the world of life.
Yep.
And it has allowed the game to be changed. Whether it's for the good or the worse, Charlton.
Yeah.
Everything moves with technology.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we got to be mindful of. Why are we saying that? Big C Sports has always been an advocate of reading. Big C reads, Charlton Googles. Okay, it's the same thing. His knowledge just tend to stick longer, but mine goes in one ear and out the other. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Big C. But for young people, and Big C, I know you can understand what I'm going to say. There are so many times in our lifetimes that I hear young people, especially kids of color, young black boys, saying, I would love to be that. I would love to have my own sports show, newscast, weather report show, whatever it is, whether it's on music or entertainment or sports, you wanted to have it. But oftentimes, if you looked on TV, you didn't see people that looked like you. Just talking to some TV producers over the last couple of days that make major motion pictures and having a conversation to say what mainstream knows I'm going to say, but you won't do anything about it anyway. I said, if we do this commercial, we want a diverse audience. That means we want a diverse cast. We don't want 99% Caucasian, one person of color, and call that diversity, because that's what mainstream calls diversity, Big C. One person of color, 99% Caucasian. And people say, well, why does that matter 2019? Everybody's the same. No, it's not the same. When you get together and do a commercial, you need a crew to put together the script. That's usually white. You need someone to get together the equipment. That's usually white. You need a director to start working on putting it together. That's usually white. You need someone to write the script. That's usually white. You need a cast. That's usually white. So at one time, do you say, well, where's this diversity in the world of making movies and TV and radio? You know where it comes from. It comes from people who make the decision. With streaming, you get to make the decision. You don't have to wait for mainstream to include you in. I even had a well-known producer that's won 4 Emmys tell me, well, Charlton, oftentimes someone will call in one of the commercials, and they only want a white cast. That means the producer's white, the director's white, the TV's white, the stage is, everybody's white. That's not what America is. So for people of color, instead of begging mainstream to give you something, go out and get it yourself. You gotta educate yourself on streaming technology because it's coming to TV as well as the app. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's about breaking the barrier. And over the decades, it's been individuals that have gone out there and broken the barrier, that have laid the groundwork for others to have opportunity, whether it's in sports, whether it's in television, whether it's in radio, Charlton. You know, when people are given opportunity, regardless of what culture you're from, Charlton, that's all you want is opportunity. Let you prove yourself or fail. That's what America was built on, that foundation, Charlton. But when those platforms are limited, and that's basically because of racism, how you limit platforms for people. You say, well, they got to challenge us. They show that they're just as intelligent, that they're just as articulate. That has always been a fight back from mainstream. It's just like with voter suppression.
Yep.
We don't want to let them expand on their knowledge, Charlton, giving them opportunities to say that they have it right.
Yep.
We want to say that they're subordinate, that we're in control, and that's not the foundation of America, Charlton. So when people are given opportunities, whether it's in politics, sports, or broadcasting, Charlton, they have an opportunity to expand themselves and succeed. And no one should be willingly trying to hold someone else back.
I agree with that very much, basically. I want to start in the world of where everybody learns. That's where you learn. You go to college to learn. You go to college not so you can become a pro athlete. You go to college to have a quantum leap in your knowledge. And so for the people that play sports, I hope you're doing more than just trying to score points for your school. Basically, men's basketball, college basketball, I want to look at the top 5 teams because this relates to technology. This is where a lot of technology will come from. It's the millennials that will utilize this technology to make a quantum leap in their careers, to make a quantum leap in their bank accounts, and to even make a quantum leap in their legacy. Big C, top 5 college basketball teams. I want to get Big C's thoughts. Everybody has their own opinion. But Big C, I love the way you do it because you always add some history to it. You don't just say the name of this school, the next school, and that school. You oftentimes can pull up history that goes back 40, 50 years, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at college basketball, which is the gateway now for the NBA because of the one-and-done rules that you constantly have, and you look across the country at the landscape of teams, Charlton, you know, mainly college basketball is dominated in the East because that's where you get your majority of voters at, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you get those early games that people see, you know. And, you know, one team that has always stayed atop of the fray, Charlton, for the past couple of decades is Kansas.
Yeah.
And you wonder how this team is ranked number 1 in the country is continuously getting top players. I mean, you go to Kansas, you can see your dog run away. So flat out there. And the biggest city is now generally the college campus.
Yeah.
But they keep bringing them in. And then Duke with Mike Krzyzewski coming in at number 2, Charlton.
Yeah.
So this program is always getting the top flight players.
Yeah.
You know, small university, 5,000 students, Charlton private university, one of the higher academic universities in the country, but they're always getting some of the top players. Then you look at Tennessee. SEC is rearing its head again, Charlton.
Yep.
Not just in football, but in basketball. Even though they had a downtrodden season, Charlton, the basketball team at Tennessee has already eclipsed the record of the football team,
wow,
in wins for the season.
Wow.
Then you look at Michigan, who's had a resurgence in football and basketball, coming in at number 4, Charlton. Everybody remembers Michigan from the Fab Five, but this program has turned back around, Charlton, and they've gotten into the top 5 at number 4. Then you look at Virginia.
Yeah.
Been down for a long time, but last season, Virginia was ranked number 1 most of the season, Charlton, and right now they're sitting there at number 5.
That's a great way to look at it, Big C. And I'm telling you, when you watch, we always say Big C Sports should be considered the winner of the 2018 Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. And it's just based on footnoting and having facts behind what you're saying. Big C Sports, with Big C as the mystic, is the only sports program in the country, in fact, the only sports program in the universe that will not only give you his top 5 or top 10, he can also take you back in history to understand they've been there a long time, not just now. Big C, the leading scorer, college basketball, Chris Clemens. He's not 6'9", Big C. He's a 5'9" guard. He's not from Campbell or from Texas or Kentucky. He's from Campbell University. He's averaging 31 points a game, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charleston, so much emphasis is put on the big-time universities, and yet people around the country don't know who some of the highlight players are in this country, Charleston. And when you talk about Clemens, being only 5'9", I mean, he reminds me a lot of Calvin Murphy, who used to play for the Houston Rockets and at the University of Niagara, leading the country in scoring at 5'9", Charleston. It just shows that basketball is not a big man's game, Charleston. It's a game from athletics.
Very well said. It's about spacing. It's about positioning. So when you're a kid in college or you're playing AAU or you're in high school and you're thinking, man, I'm not 6'6", I'm not 6'10", how can I play this game? I'm not a 6'5", swing guard. The guy's 5'9", but he understands spacing. It's analogous to anyone that runs athletics programs. Not everybody's going to be 6'5", 6'6". It's about, do you know the angles to take? Do you know how to play the game? A lot of guys are just big, tall, and clumsy. You can be smaller, but you know the angles, you can succeed. Big C, the leading rebounder in college basketball. He's not 6'10". He's not 7 feet. He's a 6'6" forward from Minnesota, Jordan Murphy. He's averaging 12.6 rebounds per game, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charleston, when you look at Mr. Murphy up there with the Golden Gophers, he reminds me a lot of Elton Brand. We just spoke about Duke University, and that's where Elton Brand was from Duke. Went on to have an illustrious career with the Philadelphia 76ers. But it shows how to utilize your body.
Yeah.
When you're 6'6", this is a guy that's willing to go in and fight amongst the tall timbers, Charleston, and get that rebound. So many big guys now start to want to be three-point shooters. But to go in and get somebody to do that everyday work at 6'6", that's a guy who understands the fundamentals of basketball.
He understands the fundamentals of basketball, and he works hard at his craft. That's important for people who want to be something. We told you. Big C just told you. Dick Tracy back in the day, he had this technology that people back in the day, they thought, well, that's not going to happen. But it's real. It's real today. And it's not going anywhere. It's not going away. So we just encourage our young people, especially young kids of color and girls too, mainstream even. Oftentimes mainstream boys, they go to the private schools or the charter schools. They have access to the best computers. They have access to the best, technology. Their schools are technology schools. They're not sitting there with 20-year-old, class books and school books. They have the best of everything. Oftentimes, these private schools will furnish every student with a computer, not just one for the classroom, but one for every kid. Do you think they have an advantage over kids that are looking at books that are 20 and 30 years old? Yes, they do. That's why get into this streaming technology. There's a lot of jobs coming out of it. Big C, I want to just touch on something really quick in the world of college football over the weekend, because we're looking at it, and they've had already a number of bowl games that nobody knows about. We've had the Bahamas. The Bahamas Bowl's coming up pretty soon. But I want to go back to one of the best bowls that I've seen over the weekend. It was Fresno State and Arizona State down in Las Vegas. The crowd was pretty good. Fresno's about 300-plus miles from Vegas. Tempe, Arizona is also about 300-plus miles from Vegas. That's important. It's important because you didn't have a bowl game that was about 50% empty. It was about 75-80% full. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charleston, logistics means a lot when you're putting together these bowl games, especially during the holiday season, Charleston. You have to make it easy for people to be able to, especially students, Charleston. If you can get some of the student body that it's a day trip for, Charleston, to go to the game where they can drive and the weather's not bad. It's very important for peers. It's also important for the players to know that they have backing in the stands. That means so much to players because motivation comes from crowd noise, Charleston. And when you're sitting in a stadium and there's no crowd noise, it's hard to get motivated for Charleston. And Fresno State went on and beat Arizona State
31-20.
12 team, Charleston.
31-20.
To give them the most victories that they've ever had in a regular season. And you think about some of the quarterbacks that have come out of Fresno State, Charleston. The Carr brothers, David Carr was the number 1 overall draft pick of the Houston Texans in the inaugural season. Derek Carr, who is now with the Raiders, who's been an all-pro quarterback, Charleston. So this program has produced some players and some great defensive backs and wide receivers.
Yep.
You know, that played in the NFL. Matter of fact, Adams, the wide receiver with Green Bay, number 17, is out of Fresno State and played there with Carr. So this is an illustrious program, Charlton, that has risen back with a former quarterback, Jeff Tedford, becoming that head coach and getting that team back on track.
It's amazing how he got away from the Pac-12 coaches, because he took Cal Berkeley, of all teams, an academic school, to number one in the country. Just over a decade ago, they were number one in the country for about a quarter because they had lost the game to Oregon State. But he doesn't have a Pac-12 job now. But he's at Fresno, where he started things for the Bulldogs. Utah State 52, North Texas 13 in the Mexico Bowl. In the Citrus Bowl, Louisiana Lafayette lost to Tulane 41-24. We also had the New Orleans Bowl, Appalachian State 45, Middle Tennessee 13. And then the Camellia Bowl, Montgomery, Alabama, Georgia Southern 23, Eastern Michigan 21. And finally, we had the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. It had North Carolina A&T 24, Alcorn State 22. I thought an interesting stat. Mark Jones had the play-by-play in that one. And the SWAC and the MEAC, they have over 17 Hall of Famers in the NFL from those two conferences, Big C. Two conferences that are rarely on TV. They have 17 players that are Hall of Fame. Eddie Robinson in the SWAC alone, I think Eddie Robinson himself had over 200 players that play NFL football. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about the demise of the HBC as far as from a standpoint of athletics, Charlton, because of integration in sports, but they had that rich, illustrious alumni history, Charlton, that is constantly following these programs around, Charlton. The great players that have graced the NFL fields, Charlton, and the NFL Hall of Fame that have come from this great universities in those conferences, Charlton, are forgotten when it comes to mainstream television because the networks don't broadcast those games, Charlton, which I feel is an atrocity, towards black athletics, Charlton, just because you don't play at a mainstream white university, that they don't highlight these players, Charlton. And when you think about one of the top rookies in the NFL, really the best defensive rookie in the NFL, who is playing at the Indianapolis Colts, Charlton, he was a second-round draft pick out of South Carolina State. But if he had been at a major white university, Charlton, he would have been a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, that's the truth. And oftentimes, if you're at one of those small schools, they know you're good, but they're not going to try to draft you high. They're going to try to get you low, or they know that a lot of people, not because you're not good, but if they go and get predominantly African-American players out of the SWAC and the MEAC, that hurts the Big Ten. It hurts the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-12, the Big 12. Why? Because those schools predominantly have black head coaches. They have black.
If you look at the AFL was built on historically black colleges. When you look at the early Super Bowls, when you look at the Green Bay Packers roster, Charlton, you look at the Oakland Raiders roster, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs roster, Charlton, even the Dallas Cowboys, when you look at the first 5 Super Bowls, and you look at the African-American players on those rosters, Charlton, 80% of them came from historical black colleges. And they became all-pro players, Charlton. They propelled teams to NFL championships. They didn't get the notoriety that everybody else. I mean, they were not first-round draft picks, all of them, Charlton, but they came in and they performed because they knew that they could get the African-American players cheaper, Charlton. It still is that they do that today, Charlton. They do that. And I was talking about that player with Indianapolis. That's Darius Leonard. He's a linebacker out of South Carolina State, Charlton. He leads the NFL in tackles as a second-round draft pick. When you look around at some of these other picks, Charlton Vanderich, with the Dallas Cowboys, he was a first-round draft pick, Charlton. But yet, the kid in Indianapolis is leading the NFL in tackles. But Vanderich gets all the publicity because he came from Boise State, Charlton.
That's a good point. So you got to know that it's not just the top athletes and the top schools. A lot of the top athletes are at schools where they were overlooked. But the thing about promoting the SWAC, we talk about an egregious thing in the NFL, and we'll cover that coming up in a bit. An egregious thing in the NFL as far as the lack of black head coaches in a league that's 70% African American. The lack of black GMs in the business because it's an oligarchy of white power and they keep you out. It's not based on your ability. It's based on your skin color and that good old boy network that a lot of people have fought to maintain. Even though we have the civil rights movement that opened doors for white women who never had to march for equality, even though some did. They were not sprayed with water hose by fire departments. They were not beaten over the heads with billy clubs by law enforcement. But when civil rights laws were passed, many were given they were given jobs in corporate America. Many places now have a white manager who's a woman, not a black man or a black woman, who make up the profile of those who fought really hard for equality in this country. I just want people to always pay attention to that. Big C, I want to touch on some of the NBA over the weekend. Some of the games: Brooklyn over Atlanta, 144-127. Philadelphia 128-105 over Cleveland. And that kid by the name Joel Embiid, if he could just get more determined, I know he doesn't have that passion that maybe Alonzo Mourning had back in the day, but he's really good. Imagine if he could work with someone like Hakeem the Dream, Olajuwon. Like Jordan says, his ceiling is the roof. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, Joel wants to be like a lot of other big men. He wants to go outside and play outside the paint, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's a very talented guy. He's probably the most talented big man in the game.
He is.
If he utilized all his talent.
Yep.
But he, like everybody else, wants to go out and pump up a three-point shot periodically, Charlton. But the game is playing down low. And when you look at the rest of the talent on that team, Charlton, the team was built for him to stay in the post.
Yep.
And if he's not going to stay in the post, I know he got a little upset when Jimmy Butler came to the roster, Charlton.
Yeah.
But they're their best winning streak of the season. He felt he wasn't getting all the shots that he wanted to have, Charlton. But people have to understand that basketball is a team game. You can become an all-star by playing a team game.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to average 30 points a night, Charlton. But the team that works with continuity the best will end up being a champion at the end of the season.
That's a very good point, Big C. And just getting your thoughts on when the Lakers went and played Washington, kind of got blown out 128-110, and people can say what they want to say, but that Washington team, Wall played his backside off, Big C, as you say, what you like to eat the part of the frog, that Big C likes to eat the backside. He really played hard, but he's not consistent. Why is he not consistent when he can drop 40 on King James, Big C, but he's not consistent come playoff, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he's a highlight player. When this camera was shining bright,
yeah,
he was able to perform against the Lakers. But you also got to understand that the Lakers are not the most well-rounded team, Charlton. They get sloppy and lazy at times.
Yeah.
They're still a work in progress. Washington has been there. They have to find some consistency in their lineup. Wall has to become a better player, Charlton, which he most likely will be because he's next to the final year of his contract, Charlton. There's been some talk about getting him out of town. He has the talent, being the former #1 overall pick, Charlton, out of Kentucky.
Yep.
He just hasn't had the consistency. And that's the one thing that his game desires.
Yeah.
But when you look at this Laker team, Charlton, even though they're a better team than what they were last year, everybody keeps expecting them to be the best team in the league, which they're not going to be.
Yep.
They don't have the talent across the board to be there, Charlton.
Yeah, that's a good point, Big C. And even going back to some other games that happened on, Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki, standing ovation, but they lost to the Sacramento Kings at home. And I've been saying even when the season started that Sacramento Kings will most likely be a number 8 seed in the NBA Western Conference. I think if they stick together and do what they've done, just keep featuring De'Aaron Fox and don't trade Willie Cauley-Stein. All he needs is an injection of testosterone to believe that he is someone like back in the day, Alonzo Mourning or Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Just more moxie. He has the frame of it, Big C. That's a team that can really start making some noise in the West. I think the year's this year, not next year. Also, want to just your thoughts on a Saturday game. When I look at what happened, it wasn't even Saturday. It was Toronto and Denver, the top 2 seeds in the East and West Conference. And no matter who wins, it's always about what happens in the playoffs. But give me your thoughts. Do you really? I think Toronto has a better chance to win the East than I do Denver has to win the West, Big C, come playoff time. Your thoughts?
Well, you think about Toronto. They went out and they drubbed the Golden State Warriors. Then they went on a 2-game losing skid against Portland and Utah, Charlton.
Yeah.
So they haven't found where they are. I think, they got overzealous after beating Golden State. They thought everybody else would just lay down.
Right.
But this is what I've talked about many times. You got to win 7-game series, Charlton.
Yeah.
You can go out and beat a team here and beat a team there, but you haven't beaten them 4 out of 7. That's what you have to do to eliminate teams. Toronto needs to be stronger on the road. That's become their Achilles heel. A lot of times, Charlton, though, when you come from that East Coast to West Coast,
yeah,
and you got that 4 or 5 game swing on the road, Charlton, when you're on the road 8 to 10 days, you get a little tired, hopping from hotels and not sleeping in your own bed.
Yep, that's the case too, Big C. Some of the NBA scoring leaders, Harden for Houston, in 25 games had 772 points, 30.9 average. Durant, Golden State, in 30 games, 29 points. James from the LA Lakers has 818 points, 28.2 points a game. Davis, New Orleans, in 26 games, 730 points, 28.1 points a game. Embiid, Philadelphia, in 29 games, having 782 points, averaging 27 points per game. Tonight's schedule, Big C: Milwaukee at Detroit, Phoenix at New York, Chicago at Oklahoma City, Sacramento at Minnesota, Utah at Houston, Philadelphia at San Antonio, Memphis is at Golden State, in a big game on the West Coast. Portland is at the LA Clippers. That's a late tip-off at 10:30 West Coast. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, basketball is heating up, as these winter months start to roll in on us. People are still bracketing. After you saw that show over the weekend, you can see that anybody can beat anybody. As good a records as teams can have in the NBA, Charlton,
yep,
they're still not a true-cut dominant team yet.
Yep, that's true, Big C. So we love NBA basketball. It's all fair and love and war. I just want to say with college basketball and football, still at the same time, basketball is getting strong. Football is heading to the bowl games right now. But Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly, who was on the hot seat last year, Big C, and the year before that, AP Coach of the Year award. Nick Saban, Alabama, was second, and then Josh Heupel of University of Central Florida was third. Do you like those choices? Give me your thoughts, Big C.
Well, Charlton, the choices are fair. I mean, when you look at what Kelly did at Notre Dame after having only 4 wins last year, but when I look at Josh Heupel, he took over at Central Florida, Charlton, and went undefeated for the second year consecutively at that university.
Yep.
Scott Frost was the head coach there. We all know what Nick Saban does at Alabama.
Yeah.
But you got to give Scott, Josh Heupel a little more credit than what you gave him, Charlton. To come in, take over a program, Charlton, and lead them to their second consecutive undefeated season. It's just like with the bowl scenario. Here it is, Notre Dame is in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that playoff was set up for the Power 5 conference.
Sure was.
And Notre Dame is the one team that does not have to play under the rules, Charlton. They play in basketball, they play in the Big East and all other sports.
Yeah.
But in football, Charlton, they're allowed to go out and stay independent, have their own network, make billions of dollars from television revenue,
yep,
from NBC,
yep,
and don't have to conform to the rules that the rest of the college football players, Charlton.
Yeah.
Kelly getting the award, AP Coach of the Year, Charlton. But Notre Dame should be excluded from the College Bowl playoff system, Charlton, because they do not play in a conference. So you punish other conference teams, Charlton, because Notre Dame chooses not to be in a conference.
Yeah.
But so when you look at it, only 3 conferences are selected to be in this bowl playoff series, Charlton. You got the SEC, you got the ACC, and you have the Big 12.
Yep.
The Pac-12 is left out, Charlton. The Big 10 is left out. Think about it. Ohio State has 1 loss in their conference.
Yeah.
And they're excluded from that, Charlton, because the playoff system and all the proponents who sit out there and say it should be expanded, it should not be expanded. After sitting back and taking a closer look at it, why should it be expanded for the more exploitation of these young college athletes, Charlton?
Yeah.
They're gonna miss school. They're gonna have to travel during the holidays.
Yeah.
Times that they could be spending with their families. Who's gonna make money off of it, Charlton? The networks and the coaches. There's no bonus that's given to the players for winning, just playing extra games.
I agree.
So for all the people who go out there and cry and say, well, we need to expand this bowl playoff system. No, we don't. Because there's too much as it is now. When you talk about all of these athletes and the risk of injuries that these athletes would have to face, Charlton, when you look at the number of players who are sitting out bowl games and all the mainstream media is out there crying, how dare these athletes not go out and play for their universities for free?
Yeah.
So their universities can make more money. And if they get injured, well, there goes their potential professional career, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because the university is not going to set up an annuity for them just for playing in the game, set up a $5-10 million annuity just in case that player gets injured, Charles.
That's a very good point, Big C. Yep.
When we look at the expansion of the bowl series, everybody needs to pump their brakes on it.
Yep.
They need to pump their brakes, take Notre Dame out of the equation, because they could be in the ACC or even in the Big Ten, Jonathan, which I think is 23 teams in that conference now,
yeah.
playing college football.
Yeah.
But they choose not to because they make all the money off the athletes and don't share it.
Kelly
got the award. That's perfect. But Notre Dame should be excluded from the bowl playoff series, Jonathan.
Choose a side. You know the rules. It says conference champions, not independent. Sports is a billion-dollar industry. Boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry for every athletic and sporting event. You need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. Big C, as we get onto the road of the NFL, when you think about Russell Wilson, he's the best fourth quarter quarterback stat-wise since 2012 out of everybody. We talk about Brady, talk about Rodgers, talk about, whoever you want to bring up. Ryan, doesn't matter who they are. Newton, Breeze, it's Russell Wilson. They came up short yesterday in San Francisco, but touchdown passes coming into yesterday's game, 87. Yards attempt, 8.3. QB rating, 109.4. That's the best in the NFL since 2012. They came up short against San Francisco yesterday. But before we run down the NFL, why is he still one of the least respected quarterbacks in the league? Because he has better numbers than guys making more money than him and are more of a household name than him, because mainstream markets some of these guys more than him, Big C. But numbers don't lie, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, they don't lie, Charlton, but you also got to look at he and his coach. They're synonymous with each other. He's not beloved in the NFL. And neither one of those players, Charlton, when Seattle was talked about for a long time, it was about the Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
It was almost like their offense never scored points, that, everything was done through their defense. Russell Wilson has been a great quarterback ever since he entered the NFL out of University of Wisconsin via North Carolina State, Charlton. Stepped right into a starting role. The Packers had signed Flynn, quarterback out of Green Bay.
Yeah.
Paid $15 million.
Wow.
Russell Wilson came in, they had to cut the kid. They just picked him up. We know his history from there.
Yep.
But Russell Wilson has proven from day one that he's a true leader in the NFL. Took his team to back-to-back Super Bowls. But, Charlton, he's not that sexy entity that they want, that you're going to find in the upper Midwest and the Northeast, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's not that Madison Avenue guy, Charlton. Skin complexion has a lot to do with it, outside of the Pacific Northwest. But, he doesn't fit the role of being that look. Even though he's a winner and everybody statistically knows where he is, but he doesn't have that look. But if you judge a guy on what he's doing, Charlton, his productivity, which he's been the most productive quarterback, far as for his team leadership in the past couple of years in the NFL.
Yeah.
Last year, he accounted for more points for his own team than any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he wasn't looked at as one of the best. All the other guys got the huge pay raises, Charlton.
Well, not that it matters, but he's good-looking guy, clean-cut guy, and he happens to have the most beautiful wife in the NFL, Sierra. But congratulations to him. They did fall yesterday to the San Francisco 49ers, 26-23. Big C, if the 49ers keep winning with their quarterback that nobody even knows, I mean, you think about it. We've been saying it all season long. We're getting coaches fired, offensive coordinators fired. Everybody's saying we need a winning guy to come in and some guy that has a big name. Mullins was 20 of 29, 275 yards. Garoppolo. This is not even about Garoppolo, because most people won't give up money. If you're the ownership and you made a mistake and you gave a guy $137 million, Big C, and a lot of that's guaranteed money, you got to realize you got a guy on minimum wage that's winning games against teams that are playoff bound, and don't say, yeah, it's just a fluke. It's not a fluke. Get rid of that contract with Garoppolo. He's not going to volunteer it. But the 49ers, they're onto something. They're going to be the only team in the Bay Area, probably by next year, Big C. They got to start and put some money into that organization, and don't let one player who's number one anything fleece the team, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at the structure of some of these huge contracts that these quarterbacks have, Charlton, and look at the productivity of the team, and see what you have that you can put around them, it doesn't leave you much leeway to go in and bring in other high-end players. To think that you just have to lean on a quarterback, Charlton, for success, it's not. When you look at that quarterback and the talent around him, when you look at teams, how they change.
Yep.
You know, you looked at Philadelphia last year. Carson Wentz, 2 years ago, Charlton, supposed to be this great quarterback. He couldn't do anything. They go out and they get a bunch of free agents, Charlton, bring them in. They spent the money on the free agents because the quarterback wasn't making a lot of money, Charlton.
Yep.
They go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be able to do that same thing in San Francisco. You're not going to be able to do the same thing in Green Bay, Charlton, because you can't afford the free agent.
Yeah.
And that's what franchises are doing now, Charlton. They're leveraging their future to hold on to generally an old quarterback.
Yeah.
And so unless you're going to be willing to invest in a team instead of an individual, Charlton, you're not going to have the success in this league.
That's a very good point, Big C. You look at, for example, in NFL, you look at the top 4 rookie running backs: Saquon Barkley, New York Giants. You have Baker Mayfield for the Cleveland Browns. Running back Philip Lindsay, free agent, Denver Broncos. Linebacker Darius Leonard, second-round draft pick, Indianapolis Colts. Those guys are all balling, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, those are the top rookies in the NFL when you look at it. You know, Baker Mayfield was the #1 pick overall quarterback in Cleveland. They have the most victories that they've had in the past 6 years, Charlton, and the season is not over with yet. You look at Saquon Barkley, who was leading all rookie running backs, Charlton.
Yeah, he's good.
In rushing and yards from scrimmage. Doing a tremendous job with the Giants, a team that's been eliminated from the playoffs. Philip Lindsay, I love Philip Lindsay in Denver, Charlton. This guy was not drafted out of Colorado State, Charlton. He wasn't even invited to the combine. But he's leading all running backs in yards per carry in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not only that, you know, he's pulling a worthy alibi in that Cleveland backfield. When you look at Leonard, the linebacker in Indianapolis, Charlton, leading all players in the NFL in tackles, Charlton, by a large number. Second-round draft pick out of South Carolina State. So when people and your buddies Mel Kiper and Todd McShay are saying that you got to go to one of these mainstream universities, Charlton, to find a great player and guys that are going to impact the school, think about it. They knew nothing about Philip Lindsay, who wasn't invited to the combine.
Nope.
He's the second leading rookie rusher in the NFL, Charlton, just under 1,000 yards. You look at Leonard, the linebacker out of South Carolina State at HBC University, Charlton, leading the entire NFL in tackles. McKiper and McShay knew nothing about either one of them.
Nothing about them. Since March of 2017, a total of 85 quarterbacks have been signed in the NFL. Big C, since March of 2017, 85 quarterbacks have been signed in the NFL. I was trying to say, Kaepernick's not one of them. Big C, your thoughts?
This just shows how stupid the NFL has been over a racial issue, Charlton, that was unjust. You know, when you're talking about injustice towards people, and you had a player that made it a platform of that, Charlton, and you want to lie on this player. We've heard a lot about people of power in this country lying, Charlton, for the past couple of years. And it has gone from the Oval Office to the NFL brass, Charlton. That the lie is what they want to tell because they don't want to tell the truth. It's so easy to tell the truth, Charlton. That here it is. Here's a guy standing for social injustice, and then there's not an American in this country, Charlton, that does not know that social justice exists, Charlton. Social injustice exists. And to keep a man from employment because of that, you think about it, 85 quarterbacks have been signed by the NFL. There's not 85 quarterbacks that can play football. But, you know, you think about that, Charlton. A lot of these guys were in retirement that have been signed, that they brought them out of retirement to play. Charlton, of those 85 quarterbacks that have been signed, of those 85, only 5 of them had winning records. Only 5.
That's a good point.
Only 5. And none of those 5 that had winning records are even starting quarterbacks, Charlton. They did it in backup roles.
Very good point. Very good point.
That's it. They were not starting quarterbacks. They did it in backup roles when starters went down. So when you think about a guy who's been to a Super Bowl, to an AFC championship, Charlton, as a starting quarterback, none of those quarterbacks that were signed ever accomplish that feat.
Very good point. The Steelers 17, Patriots 10 in a dynamic game, Big C, up there in Pittsburgh last night. It looks like the Patriots 2 consecutive losses. They're staggered into the playoffs. And then Coach Tomlin, for all of the knuckleheads that are saying he needs to lose his job for being the third winningest coach that's active coaching in the NFL behind Belichick and also Reed, then just, quit watching football. The guy has put together a team. They got cheated in Oakland. They had some field goals that cost them, even in the game against the Chargers, Big C. They're right there neck and neck. But something about the Steelers, if they wear that all black all the time, that's amazing, that look, Big C. I know they're black and gold with the gold pants, but that's an amazing look. Your thoughts on that game and how big it was the defense stepped up in the end and shut down Brady?
Well, Charlton, this was a game that Brady seemed to be confused in, Charlton, a lot. I mean, it's happened the past couple of weeks. When you look at him keeping points off of the scoreboard for his team, horrific interceptions in the game, Charlton, at inopportune times.
Yeah.
That, just throw the ball away, take the penalty, give your field goal kicker a chance to kick the ball, Charlton. Tom Brady's not doing that. Tom Brady happened to be in a little panic mode, Charlton, in doing that.
Yeah.
So, you have to look at the Patriots and say, okay, this is a team that seems to be a step slow right now.
Yeah.
Gronkowski, there's been so much emphasis put on him. Bill Belichick had the right thing in mind when he talked about trading him last year prior to the start of the season.
Yeah.
But even if you don't trade the guy, Charlton, you got to have somebody in reserve that can play. But, as I look at the Patriots overall, they're not playing dominant defense any longer, Charlton. They're giving up too much yards. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are finding ways to win. And this is a revenge game, Charlton, in that game they had last year where they were robbed when Jesse James caught the ball at the end zone and fell into the end zone and fumbled, and they finally changed the rules, Charlton.
Yeah.
But, you got to think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, Charlton, winning their division once again and getting into the playoffs.
I think very much. They looked really good last night, Big C. This is weird. We talked about this, too. You can Google it. We talked about it on Fridays when Big C did his Big C's NFL preview. We said if Stafford cannot win a game at Buffalo, and he's $100+ million quarterback, and he's going up against the quarterbacks, it's like quarterback by committee in Buffalo. Allen was 13 of 26, 204 yards. Stafford was 22 of 29, 208 yards, but he makes $100 million, and they could not beat the hapless Buffalo Bills. At one point in time, where they started saying that Stafford is a bust, Big C. You don't make $100 million to go lose at Buffalo. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's why they fired Jim Caldwell last year, Charlton, having a winning record with Matthew Stafford. And they're not going to eclipse that number this year, Charlton. You get rid of an African-American coach because you have a quarterback that can't win. He can't keep his team in front, Charlton. He comes from behind. And that's why he's the greatest come from behind quarterback in NFL history, Charlton, because he doesn't know how to play from ahead.
Yeah.
And here it is. He couldn't put 2 touchdowns on the board yesterday against the Buffalo Bills.
No.
Against a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
Here it is, Matthew Stafford, one of these great statistical quarterbacks in the NFL. Think about this. He's a statistical quarterback, Charlton. He's not a winning quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's what all these preponderants don't understand. Just because you have statistics don't mean that you can win, Charlton. And when you look at the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, they all have statistics. They don't have wins.
That's a very good point, Big C. The Bears are who we thought they were, the late Dennis Green, 24-17 over the Packers. Big C, I got to ask it because I know you're very fair. You don't care what someone's name is. You care about their numbers. How much is Aaron Rodgers to blame for the wasted season for the Packers? 2 years in a row, not making the playoffs, the highest paid player in the NFL. No one buys a car that's used or pre-owned and pays premium price as if it's brand new. He's making money on what he did in the past, but he's helping destroy the Packer organization. If you don't think so, have him go back and offer to restructure that $188 million, Big C. They can't even beat a team that has a quarterback that is in his second year, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, right with the Packers last week, if you recall, in that victory that they had. But all of a sudden, they had to go play a quality team in the Bears. They beat Atlanta.
Yeah.
They beat nobody in beating Atlanta.
Yeah.
It was just 2 high-paid quarterbacks. That's all it was. They go to Chicago and they play against a complete team, Charlton. that put all the pressure in the world on Aaron Rodgers. And when you look at Aaron Rodgers talking, when he throws an incomplete pass, he wants to blame it on somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, no one talks about him scrambling around. If he was a black quarterback, they say, "Oh, he's just a scrambling quarterback."
Yeah.
You know, Aaron Rodgers, though, when he's playing bad, everybody else has to be the fault.
Yep.
You know, the offensive line is terrible. You know, the receivers are not getting open. It's always somebody else. So when I looked at Brady's performance over the weekend, talking, and I looked at Aaron Rodgers' performance over the weekend, everybody said, you know, a month or so ago there was this talk that they were the GOATs. They were playing each other.
Right.
I think it was a Monday night or a Sunday night game.
Yeah. Yep.
Two greatest quarterbacks in the NFL were going to be playing other. It was a mediocre competition between them on that night, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And they both declined since then. Neither one of them seems to have the electricity to motivate their team and teammates right now, Tom.
Very good point, Big C. And I look at the game and I'll come out and say it. I thought the NFL would orchestrate another win, the Raiders over the Bengals. Congratulations for the Bengals and Marvin Lewis, much maligned Marvin Lewis. A 30-16 win, the Bengals over the Raiders. That was a game that was going back and forth, neck and neck. A game that could have been won by either team. You had Oakland's Carr had 21 of 38, 263 yards. And then Cincinnati had Driscoll 14 of 33, one pick, only 130 yards, Big C. Give me your thoughts on that game. It's not going to keep Lewis in play with Cincinnati, though, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, no, it won't, Charlton. It's a little too late in the season. I mean, they've had problems all year long with consistency. They lost A.J. Green, their top receiver, a few weeks ago, Charlton, to toe surgery. You know, they haven't had the consistency on offense that they needed this year, Charlton. You know, Mixon has been out a lot. The defense has been in shambles. But, you know, the excuse will always be Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati when they're not winning. Injuries don't matter. You know, Mark McCarthy lost his job, you know, in Green Bay. And now Marvin Lewis, it's just like Hugh Jackson is going to lose his job at the end of the season in Cincinnati.
Yeah, Big C. The Vikings 41, Dolphins 17. Now, when you look at Kirk Cousins, and people say, well, what a great game by Kirk Cousins. It was not a great game by Kirk Cousins. Going into this game, Kirk Cousins has 4 wins and 25 losses versus teams with winning records. This year, he's now 1-5 since they beat the Miami Dolphins. But the Dolphins are a 500 team right now. It's not like they're a winning team. For the first time, I saw the media, mainstream, mothership, doing what you were doing. Take the guy's number, take his skin color away from it. What coach would want to bring a guy in, and what owner would want to sign a guy who's 4 wins and 25 losses versus winning team, giving them over $84 million, Big C? But congrats on the win for the Vikings. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at this win for the Vikings, everyone will say Kirk Cousins. It wasn't Kirk Cousins. The Vikings ran for more yards than what Kirk Cousins passed for in this game, Charlton.
Yep.
That was the difference in this game. Everyone said, well, when they got rid of DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator, Charlton, well, Charlton, they took the ball out of Cousins' hands.
Yeah.
Is what they did. They paid the guy $84 million because they thought he could make some critical throws in games, Charlton. But when a game is on the line, he can't make those throws. So they took the ball out of his hand this week. That was the difference in the Vikings' win, Charlton. They rushed for 220 yards. They passed for 208.
Yep.
The difference was the ground game with Cook and Murray, Charlton. They led the Vikings to victory, but Cousins got the credit for it.
And Miami is so sorry. They had 37 passing yards. Big C, the Titans 17. The Giants nothing. And the Eli watch is still on. Titans 17 and the Giants nothing. It's not Eli's fault though, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I don't know. Eli looked mighty skittish in the pocket. There was times that he was looking to fall down. He didn't want to get hit. And when you get older, you don't want to be hit. And I can understand that with Eli.
Yeah.
But the Giants, I mean, you got Zimmer with Sherman, you know, skating around the issue. They're talking about they have the utmost confidence in Eli. That destroys the morale of the rest of the team, Charlton. Eli is going to start out the rest of the season with the Giants. But they're not trying to rebuild, and they're not trying to instill confidence in the rest of the team. And to go and get shut out by the Titans, Charlton, and you look very lackluster in having that done, Charlton.
Yep.
There's no leadership coming from the helm of the Giants, either from the head coach or the quarterback.
Big C, the Colts 23, Cowboys nothing. Prescott actually outperformed in Andrew Luck, but it's something about momentum. They had a drop touchdown. They just couldn't get it going. And the Colts were actually playing some pretty good football. Big C, give me your thoughts on that game.
Well, I looked at the Cowboys in that game, and there was many points that they just missed. Dak Prescott was very pedestrian in the game. I think after coming off a career best, that he thought it would just walk out on the field and it would happen again. And the Colts hit the Cowboys in the mouth. They shut down the running game. They shut down Prescott, and they made a sham of that Dallas Cowboy defense.
Yep.
They thought that their offense would put some points on the board, and they spent too much time out there. They could not stop the Colts rushing game. Andrew Luck didn't throw a touchdown, but that ground game just dominated the Dallas Cowboys.
Big C, next 5 minutes, we have the Redskins 16, Jaguars 13. Your thoughts?
Well, talking to Jaguars, we thought was a formidable team coming into the season. The NFL had them rated getting back to the AFC Championship and possibly the Super Bowl. All they're doing right now is jockeying for a draft position. They were beaten by a quarterback that has not started a game since 2011 in the NFL, Josh Johnson.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. The Ravens 20, Buccaneers 12. I guess Jackson should play defensive back, or should they keep him at the quarterback position? Big C, your thoughts?
If you look at the Ravens, they're on the verge of making the playoffs. Lamar Jackson is 4-1 as a starter. Okay?
Yep.
The Ravens were 4-5 when he took over.
Yep.
They're 8-6 now, Charlton. They're knocking on the door of getting into the playoffs. But even all the proponents are out there. They're criticizing the kid every week, Charlton, for winning. So you think about it. He's of all the rookie quarterbacks out there, he has the best record of all of them.
All
He's
of them.
4-1 as a starter.
Yep.
Mayfield gets high praise. Sam Darnold gets high praise. Josh Allen gets high praise. Lamar Jackson, criticized.
The Falcons 40, the Cardinals 14. Matt Ryan finally gets the win. But again, what bird tastes better, Cardinal or Falcon, Big C? Your thoughts on Cardinal or Falcon in your restaurants?
Well, Charlton, it all depends on how you marinate. You got to get brine on there.
Yeah.
And you take your time cooking. But But you think about the Cardinals in this game, Charlton. They benched Josh Rosen in the second quarter.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get anything done offensively.
Yep.
He said he was going to make all 10 teams that passed on him in the draft, regret it. I think they're sitting around drinking a hot toddy.
They're drinking a hot toddy right now. That's true, because speaking of hot toddies, you look at what happened. The Texans 29, the Jets 22, back on track down in Texas. Big C, your thoughts?
DeAndre Hopkins is a beast down in Texas. I know we always talk about Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
But there's not a receiver in the NFL playing better than DeAndre Hopkins, Charlton. And that defense just brought it for the Texans. And when you think about Deshaun Watson, able to bring his team from behind, Charlton, and pull out that victory against the Jets. They lost a tough one the week prior to that to the Colts, Charlton, but being able to have the ability to rebound, that's what you look for in a promising young quarterback. 2
more games, and then tonight's game, Big C. The Browns on a Thursday night with a 17-16 win over the Broncos in Denver. Does that make it a little bit more difficult to keep your job if you're a head coach, or does Elway say we have a good thing, but we don't have a good quarterback yet? So how can you don't have everything you need to be successful as a coach? What will Elway do, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Elway is easy to escape blame, Charlton. I think he drafted Paxton Lynch, who was crying on the bench.
Yep.
Trevor Siemian, who was a 7th-round draft pick. Then you make the free agency acquisition of Case Keenum.
Yeah.
He hasn't given Joseph an opportunity to develop a quarterback, Charlton. You had a quarterback last year. You have a quarterback this year. It's all different. You think about Minnesota. Is the coach in Minnesota under the same fire that Joseph is under in Denver, Charlton?
No.
Basically having the same record. When you look at that, Charlton, you got a quarterback that you're paying $84 million guaranteed.
Wow.
And you only have a 1-game record better than what you have in Denver. Denver has a black coach.
Big C, I love you. Just keep it real, Big C, and that's why Big C Sports should be the recipient of the Edward R. Murrow Award. You can watch what ESPN did in their Sunday morning NFL show when we featured Cousins. Big C's been right on Kirk Cousins all year long. They finally started telling somewhat of the truth. At least Randy Moss, I give him credit. But even when he did that, he got some pushback from some other people saying, well, they really need a better offensive coordinator. No, offensive coordinator doesn't check off plays. That's Cousins, Big C. Big C, this game last night, the Rams, they've been struggling the last couple of games. Jared Goff, all of a sudden, seems very anemic. 7 interceptions in his last 3 games and 2 losses. To have the Eagles come into L.A. and beat them in the Coliseum, what's going on with that offense? Gurley didn't even have 60 yards rushing, and all of a sudden their coach doesn't look like the best coach in L.A. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I'm waiting on all these talk shows to say, well, everybody needs to go out and get a coach like Sean McVay.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden, that's what you need, the next new hot young coach. No one's talking about Anthony Lynn over there with the Chargers, Charlton.
Yep.
Who has the best record in town also.
Yeah.
No one's talking about Anthony Lynn. He's anemic, in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But when I look at Jared Goff, Charlton, the last 2 years, he's hit the wall this time of the year. If you look at the Rams' record last year,
yeah,
they got late in the season, he hit the wall, Charlton. They went on the skids. They lost the game to the Philadelphia Eagles same time last year, Charlton. And we're at that same point again this year. They come in, they were 14 points favorites. You think about that. 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions in the last 3 games for the Rams from Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Yet a month ago, everybody was saying he was a potential MVP of the NFL.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to fix what's wrong. It's not what's wrong, Charlton. It's that he's hit the wall for the 2nd year in a row, Charlton.
Yeah.
After a dozen games into the season.
Yeah, that tends to happen, basically. When people get a book on you, they get a read on you, they figure out how you can do things right or wrong. But I love the fact that you said African-American coaches, give them the same leniency that you give the Caucasian guys, that you're overhyped. It's just a fact. Tonight's game, Carolina Panthers, if they lose to the Saints, Big C, they will be eliminated from the playoffs. Is Ron Rivera's job in jeopardy? I hope not, but sometimes bread gets pretty stale when you don't win. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think if they lose this game, that they're going to find a reason to dump Ron Rivera. But you think about Ron Rivera, Charlton, 4 years ago, he was in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
He had an MVP quarterback. And no one's giving him credit for that. Last year, he was in the playoffs, Charlton. So 2 of the last 4 years, he's been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But as a minority coach in the NFL, Charlton, that's not good enough. It's not good enough at all. You think about his record. It's better than Dan Quinn's record in Atlanta.
Sure is.
And over that same time, Charlton, they've both been in the Super Bowl, and they both been in the playoffs in that last 4 years.
Yeah.
No one's talking about firing Dan Quinn in Atlanta, and they're in the same division. But they're talking about getting rid of Ron Rivera. So, you got to look at it how they look at it, Charlton.
Yeah.
Is that the guy don't look like me, and he's not winning right now, I got to look elsewhere. So when you look in Joseph in Denver,
yeah,
you look at Lewis in Cincinnati,
yeah,
you look at Rivera in Carolina, Charlton. These coaches are on the hot seat, not by having the worst records in the league, Charlton, but not looking like the majority of the coaches in the league.
That good old boy network. We all say it's all fair in love and war. Big C Sports should be the recipient of the 2018 Everett R. Morrill Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. Just Google what we say. We always ask you to Google it. If you can't verify what we say, then maybe don't listen to what we say. We believe in broadcast integrity, Big C. It's so important, especially in our business. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, we're moving into this Monday night game, Charlton. This is a chance for the Saints to solidify home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They have a 1-game lead on the Rams, and if they beat the Panthers tonight in Carolina, Charlton, where the temperature should be pristine at about 55 to 60 degrees, then they will solidify home field throughout the NFC playoffs, Charlton. And you get fans down there in the Who Dat Nation in the Dome, it's going to be a hard fight, Charlton. The last time the Saints had home field advantage in the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I love the Who Dat. I didn't know what Who Dat meant. I thought it was a soft drink, but now I knew it's kind of a moniker they have for the good old boys down south. As we always say, speaking of Who Dat, that's Big C Sports every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. and them good old boys down south, as we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please just call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage of their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.